We begin the Gemara today on Daf Pei Vav Amud Aleph, where it says Amar Ameimar, about 10 lines from the top of the Amud. So we learned before in the Gemara an interesting halacha that Shmuel said. A person that has a document of a loan that someone owes him money, shtar chayiv, you could sell it. But when you sell it, even after it's bought and the sale goes through, nevertheless, you could be meichel des chayiv. You could forgive the whole loan, and the buyer won't have the right to collect the loan. That was Shmuel's chiddush. Explained yesterday, the Rishonim explained how that is, how you could be meichel something after you sold it. But now, Ameimer says in this, Amar Ameimer, Man de doin dine de garmi. The one that says, that paskins, that we do collect money in a situation of garmi. This concept of garmi, Rashi brings, this is in the Gemara in Baba Kama. We know that there's a concept called grama. When you cause somebody a damage indirectly, you're pater of paying b'dinei adam in a bezdin, even though b'dinei shemayim you are chayiv. The typical example of grama is when you go to someone's barn, he has his animals there, and you open the doors of the barn. And eventually an animal walked out and then got lost or got hurt and so on. You didn't damage any of his property directly, but you caused it. But when you cause something to happen, you're not obligated to pay in bezdin here, b'dinei adam. That's the concept of grama. Garmi, the expression the Gemara uses here, is a bit different. Garmi is also something that you didn't literally physically break somebody's car or somebody's item, but you did something as a cause, but more of a direct cause. You're doing something with a certain action, and it's something that has an immediate effect of a loss to somebody else. The example I gave before of opening someone's doors to the barn, it doesn't necessarily have an immediate effect, and you didn't do any maisa regarding the animals itself. You opened the door, and then eventually something could happen afterwards. Garmi is when you do something and it causes a damage immediately. So in such a case, there's actually a machlokes in the Gemara whether garmi is the same as grama, and you'll still be pater, even though it's more of an immediate damage that you cause, or no, that you're going to be chayiv. Garmi is different than grama. Garmi you will be chayiv for, even b'dinei adam. So therefore, Ameimah here says, the one that paskins, that when it comes to dinei de garmi, when you do something which is an immediate cause of loss to somebody, that you do pay for this. So over here as well, magbi be d'mei shtarim aliyah. If this person that sold you this document, and now he goes and he's meichel it, and now you paid money for this document, and you can't collect anything with it. So he causes you an immediate and direct loss. He's going to have to, the seller that is going to have to reimburse the buyer for this. The mei shtarim aliyah. And Rashi's pshat in the mei shtarim aliyah means he's going to have to pay you the full price of that loan of the shtar that you were able to collect. The chiddush of Rashi here is, let's say the shtar had on it $100, and the buyer only paid $80 for the shtar. He's not going to have to reimburse you $80 if he forgives this loan, but he's going to have to pay you back the full $100 that he caused you that you now can't collect. Now, mandalay don dina de garmi, the one that holds that we do not paskin, that you cannot collect in a case of garmi, even though he caused you a direct damage. But nevertheless, garmi is like groma, which is patib dinei adam. So magbibe the main naira balma. All you can collect from the seller is just the worth of the paper, which really is nothing because you have the paper in your hands. It's just another way of saying that he basically sold you this loan, and he has the right to go and forgive it, even though he's causing you a direct damage because you paid for this and now you have nothing. But it doesn't matter. It's called a grama, or even if it's garmi, it's a direct, immediate cause of loss. Nevertheless, you cannot collect anything for this. So the Gemara says for this, hava alma, hava uvda, that is, there was an incident that happened. In such a case, a person sold the document and then he forgave it. And now, v'kafir Rafram l'Ravashi. Rafram forced Ravashi, or it really means that he explained to him. Rashi says he brought him proofs and he sort of persuaded Ravashi, v'agbeba kikshura litzlami. And Ravashi went and collected from the seller. Kikshura litzlami means he collected him fully, every last penny. It's an expression, just like when a person buys perfect conditioned pieces of wood because he wants to use it to make a sculpture out of it. He wants to use this wood for something that he needs to have perfect wood. So too over here, Ravashi made sure that this seller should reimburse the buyer after he was meichel this loan on every last penny. Amar Ameimah mishmei Rav Chama. Rav Meimah said in the name of Rav Chama, Haiman de Ikke alek subas isha bal chayv. Person that has the ksubah to pay for his wife that he divorced, and a bal chayv that he owes money to. And ve'isle ara, He owns a piece of land, and Visle Zuzah, and he also has cash, he has money. So who gets the piece of land, and who gets the money? So the Baal Choiv is paid with money. And the wife, he pays her just by she can collect from the land itself. And the Gemara explains, Hai ki dine, v'hai ki dine. Each one gets what they deserve. And Rashi says what this means is, when the person lent you money, he didn't lend you a piece of land, he lent you money. So he deserves to be paid back with money. If you don't have money, so then you'll pay him with pieces of land. But if you do have money, so then you have to pay back the money. But when it comes to a wife, she never gave him a penny. It's an agreement that if she divorces her, he pays her a Kesubos, but she's relying on collecting from the pieces of land that he owns. And therefore, for that, you pay the land. The Gemara continues, if he does not have any cash, all he has is a piece of land, and it's only enough for one of them to collect. And the case over here is, as Rashi says, that the Baal Choiv and the Kesubos Isha, they're both coming to collect, and they both, the obligation to pay them began on the same day. The same day that he borrowed the money is the same day that he got married to his wife, so one does not come before the other. He owes both of them from the same date. So now who gets to collect that one piece of land? So Yavinan Le, again, Baal Choiv Yavinan Le. So we give that one piece of land for the person that he borrowed the money from. And Isha Lo Yavinan Le. And we don't give it to the Isha for the Kesubos money. My time, why does the Baal Choiv come first? Because Yaise Mima Sha'ish Reitze Lisa Isha Reitze Li'nasim. More than a man wants to get married, the wife wants to get married. So therefore, the Gemara is saying over here is like this: when it comes to the Baal Choiv, if you're not going to pay him back in a situation where it's the Baal Choiv and the Kesubos Isha, and the Kesubos Isha comes before the Baal Choiv, he'll never want to lend money again. This is what's known in the Gemara, Tinel Dalas B'fnei Loivin. You're closing the door before other people in the future that are going to want to borrow money. They're going to say, look, in such a situation, I have to get into the back of the line. We always put the creditor that is collecting money ahead of everybody else, so you should lend money in the future. But when it comes to a Kesubos, one of the points of the Kesubos is that a woman should be secure in wanting to get married, to know that her husband, if her husband divorces her, she will be taken care of. But we know that a woman, even if she doesn't have mamish that security, then she's going to be second in the line. It's not going to stop her from getting married. And there'll be a chain that she'll want to get married to her husband. Rashi brings the lashon of the Gemara. We had a few times the chain that the wife finds in the husband's eyes. Even if she's going to have to go number 2 to collect, nevertheless, it's not going to stop her from getting married. So the Gemara weiter, Rav Papa asks Rav Chama, also regarding this same subject of collecting, Vadai de Amrisu, Mishmei de Rava. Is this true what I heard that you said in the name of Rava? I'm on the Maski Bezuzi. If there's someone that they're trying to collect from him alone, ve'isle ara, and he doesn't have money, but he has a field, a land, v'asa b'choiv v'kotava minei, and the Baal Choiv is coming, the lender is coming and demanding for you to pay, v'amalei zil shkol mara, and you go and you tell the lender, no problem, you can collect, you can take this property here. Amrina lei, so we tell the borrower, zil zavin at, no, you go and sell this property, v'aisi, and havle, and bring the money, and pay me cash. I'm not taking this property here. Is that true? Did you say such a halacha that we force the borrower to actually pay cash even when he has a property that he can give to the lender? Amalei. So Rav Chama answers, no, loy. I never said such a thing. In the name of Rav, there's no such a halacha. A borrower does not have to sell his property in order to pay cash for the loan. If all he has is the property, so then he pays with that. So Rav Papa tells him, so tell me the story of what happened. I mean, where did this shmua come out from, this rumor come out from that you said this in the name of Rava? What is it that happened and what is it that he paskin? Amalei, so Rav Chama answered, what happened was, there was an individual that he had money and he was claiming that the money that I have is not mine, the money that I have belongs to a guy, and he didn't want to pay the money. There should be another Gemara there. And he didn't want to actually pay the money. So he did have cash. And when you have cash, you should be paying with that money. So he was trying to avoid payment. So therefore what happened is, because this borrower did something that's not right. He's made believe as if he has no money to pay. So therefore, Chachamim also paskin for him also what's unusual, and that is they told him, you have a piece of property, you can't allow him to collect with the property. Go sell your property and bring the cash for the lender. Another halacha regarding collecting a loan, Rav Kahana says to Rav Papa, according to your opinion, and you say as follows, Priyas bal chayiv mitzvah. The whole obligation for a borrower to pay the loan it's a mitzvah. Rashi here brings the pasuk. It says in the Torah, hin tzedek, even though hin tzedek literally means that you should have proper, when you measure things, they should be done properly, but we darshan hein shel chot tzedek. When you say, yes, I'll pay you back, that obligates you a mitzvah to fulfill, to pay back. In other words, when you borrow money from someone, according to Rav Papa's opinion, so really the money that I took is now mine to use and to keep, but the Torah gives me a mitzvah that because I used this money from someone else, so I should pay it back. But it's really a mitzvah. This isn't the Gemara in Erechin, and it's relevant when it comes to Yusaimim, whether Yusaimim have to pay up a loan or not. Do they have to fulfill the father's mitzvah? That's where it comes up. So Bekitza here, the Gemara says, according to your opinion, that you say the whole idea of paying up a loan is a mitzvah. So how about Amalei Michali de Eved mitzvah? So what's if this person comes and says that it's my mitzvah? There's many mitzvahs, and I don't want to do this mitzvah. So what happens now? Could he stop and not pay this loan? What's the halacha? Amalei, so Rav Papa said, Tanina, this is a concept bichlal regarding all mitzvahs that we learned already in another brayse. What does it say there in the brayse? When is it that there's a concept of malchus menatayre, you get 40 lashes or 39 lashes, so that is regarding a mitzvah loisase. Avol b'mitzvah saseh, when it comes to a mitzvah saseh, kagayin she'aimrim loy aseh sukkah ve'enoise, that we tell a person that you have a mitzvah to build a sukkah, and he doesn't build a sukkah. Lulav ve'enoise, or the mitzvah of lulav, and he's not fulfilling the mitzvah. Makin oisa chetetze nafshay. So over here we force the person to fulfill the mitzvah. We hit him until his soul leaves his body, and we force him to fulfill the mitzvah. The Rishonim say that achetetze nafshay doesn't mean literally, but it means we force him to fulfill the mitzvah. This is a halacha b'negei to all mitzvahs that a yid could be forced to fulfill a mitzvah. So even if paying a loan is just a mitzvah saseh, and it's not an obligation because you have someone else's money in your pocket, but it doesn't matter. Yet we force him to pay this loan, like every other mitzvah. Rami Bacham asked Rav Chisda Shaila, Harei zeh gitich. A person tells his wife, here, this is your get, but v'loit is garshi boy, the get should not take effect, elo la'acha shloishim yom, only after 30 days. There's a machlokes rishonim how to learn this Gemara. In our Gemara, it does not add the word of mei achshav, that you have to tell her that the get is taking effect today, that in 30 days it will take effect retroactively from today. But many Rishonim say that he added the word mei achshav, but Rashi doesn't mention it. From Rashi, it seems like either that the Gemara here is speaking about without mentioning the word mei achshav. So the get, he's giving her the get today, the act of the Maisa Gedishim he's doing today, but he's making clear to her that the get will not take effect, the Gedishim will not take effect until 30 days from now. V'holcha, and she went, v'hinichasei b'tzidei Rishus Harabim. She placed the get somewhere on the side of the Rishus Harabim. Tzidei Rishus Harabim is the area right near the walls of the houses, in order for the people that are traveling in the street not to scrape up against the walls of the houses. They had maybe different rocks over there or some kind of things to stop them from going all the way near the houses. And that area is called Tzidei Rishus Harabim, the side of the Rishus Harabim. That's where she placed the get. Mahu, what's the halacha if that's where the get is found when the 30th day arrives? Will she be megareshes or not? The question is, the get has to be in her possession on that 30th day when the gedushin takes effect. If the get is not in her possession on that time when the get gedushin is supposed to take effect, she won't be divorced. So over here in this tzidei Rishus Harabim, it's not mamish in the public area of where people are walking. Will the get take effect?
Does she have access to it? Does she have access to it?
Sure she does. Why not? Amalei, so Rav Chisda answered, no, she will not be divorced in that area. It's not her domain, so she's not divorced. She doesn't have to get in her own private domain. Where do we know this? Rav u'Shmuel, from something that Rav and Shmuel said earlier in the Gemara. What do they say? The Rav and Shmuel Damri Tarvayu, Rav and Shmuel both said, and this is regarding the halacha that we learned before, that Rav Tarfon says that after a person passes away, you can go and grab from the possessions of this person, from his nechasim, for any loan that they were owed. So Rav and Shmuel say about this, when could you go and grab from his possessions? That's only if they're piled up and they're in the middle of the street in the Rishus HaRabim. Then anybody can come and grab. But if it's in this person's private domain, or actually Rav and Shmuel both say over there, if it's in a simta, which is this corner in the Rishus HaRabim where people do business, over there you can't go and grab from this person's possessions for any loan that he owed you, because that's already something which is the Yarshim, in the Yarshim's possession. You can't grab it from out of their private place. But from the Rishus HaRabim, it's not in their private domain, so you could grab. Now, Rav Chisda says about this, V'tzidei Rishus HaRabim k'Rishus HaRabim damu. The sides of the Rishus HaRabim is the same like the Rishus HaRabim itself, even though Rav and Shmuel didn't say this explicitly, but the Rishonim explained that the reason why he's saying this is, Tosfos over explains, because Rav and Shmuel only said from a simta you won't be allowed to grab. Simta is, again, is a side area off the Rishus HaRabim where people do business. From there you can't grab. But it seems from the words of Rav and Shmuel that the sides of the Rishus HaRabim, which is not like a simta, it's closer to the walls of the houses, it's part of the Rishus HaRabim. And therefore, since that's considered to be a public place, so if she left her get in that area when the 30th day arrives, when the get is supposed to take effect, it's not in her own private domain, so the get won't take effect. That's the psak halacha of Rav Chisda. So the Gemara asks him this, on the contrary, Megureshes, I'll bring you a raya that if the get is found on the sides of the Rishus HaRabim, she will be divorced. With Rav Nachman, and the source of this is from what Rav Nachman said. We also learned this before in the Gemara. Rav Nachman said, Rabbi Baravua, in the name of Rabbi Baravua, a person says to his friend, Mishayich parazu, here, make a kinyan, take this para, but the kinyan should not take effect ad la'acha shloishim yom, until after 30 days. So you're doing the act of the kinyan now, but the actual acquisition only takes place in 30 days. So what does Rav Nachman say? That kana, he will acquire it then when the 30th day arrives. Even if then, the 30th day, the cow that he's buying is not in his private domain, it's out in a swamp somewhere, which is an open area, still you'll be kainit, because it's not mamish in a public place, open where everybody walks. Agam is more on the side, so therefore you will be kainit. So the Gemara says, my love, don't you think, hainu agam, and the the status of an agam, a swamp, where animals are sometimes, and at Tzidei Rishus HaRabim, which is on the side of the Rishus HaRabim, don't you think it's the same thing? So just like regarding an agam, we say, as long as the cow is there in this swamp, so the kinyan takes effect on the 30th day, the same should be with the get. That when she has the get, and then on the 30th day, the get is there on the side of the Rishus HaRabim, it's not mamish in the public place where people are walking, so maybe the gerushin should take effect. But the Gemara says it's not the same thing. Loi. Agam lochod, v'tzidei Rishus HaRabim lochod. Agam is more of a private area, and therefore if a behemoth is in this swamp, on the 30th day, the kinyan will take effect. Tzidei Rishus HaRabim, on the sides of the Rishus HaRabim, near the walls of the houses, that's a different thing. That's more related to the Rishus HaRabim, and therefore the get will not take effect. Ikeda there was another version to what Rav Chisda answered. Amalei, Rav Chisda answered to this question regarding if the get is found on the side of the Rishus HaRabim on the 30th day, Mugereshes, she will be divorced. And he brought the raya from Rav Nachman. With Rav Nachman, from what Rav Nachman said, that like we just quoted, Rav Nachman said that regarding buying an animal, if it's found in a swamp on the 30th day, the kinyan takes effect. The same thing with the get. If the get is found on the side of the Rishus HaRabim on the 30th day, the gerushin takes effect. And v'tzidei, so on this, the Gemara asked, v'tzidei Rishus HaRabim ka'agam dami, but is the size of the Rishus HaRabim compared to a swamp? Adarabbe, I'll tell you, this is actually part of, again, the way you read this is, it's part of what the Gemara is bringing a raya from Rav Nachman. That's not yet the question. Again, Megureshes mid Rav Nachman, v'tzidei Rishus HaRabim ka'agam dami. Originally, the Gemara is thinking that the size of the Rishus HaRabim is like the agam, like the swamp. On that the Gemara asks, Adarabbe, on the contrary, Eina Mugereshes, you should say regarding a get that is on the side of the Rishus HaRabim on the 30th day, she should not be divorced. Mid Rav Shmuel, from what Rav and Shmuel said. Rav and Shmuel said that if it's in the middle of the Rosh Hashanah, it's a public area. And my love, Hain Rosh Hashanah, V'Hain Tzid Rosh Hashanah. Don't you think that the middle of the Rosh Hashanah and the sides of the Rosh Hashanah is the same thing? It's a public area, so she won't be divorced if she left the get there on the 30th day. Now that the Gemara answered, Loi Rosh Hashanah L'chod, V'Tzid Rosh Hashanah L'chod. There's a distinction between the Rosh Hashanah itself, where everyone walks, and the sides of the Rosh Hashanah, which is more of a private area. And over there, according to this version, the halacha is that if she left to get there on the 30th day, she will be Megareshes. People don't walk there. Person that establishes his wife to be a storekeeper for him. He owns a store, and his wife is the manager of the store. Or he appointed his wife to be a manager over his business or different things regarding, Rashi says, he's dealing with peiros, fruits, or whatever other business he does. His wife is the manager, the caretaker of the business. So hareze mashbia kozman sheyirtza. He could have her swear that she didn't take anything for herself at any time. This is b'chlal halacha b'negeh to a manager of a business that he'll be obligated to swear that he didn't take anything for himself. And the same thing is regarding a wife, that a person could have his wife swear to him at any time that she didn't take anything for herself. Rabbi Eliezer goes even a step further. Afil al pilcha v'alisasa. Even regarding her spindle and regarding the dough that she bakes, that she uses to bake bread for him. So he also can have her swear to him that she didn't take any thread for herself. She didn't take any dough for herself. Right? It's the husband that's providing the thread, and the husband is providing the dough. And a person can have his wife swear to him at any time. If he's suspecting her, he can have her swear to him that she didn't keep anything for herself. So on this halacha of Rabbi Eliezer, the Gemara asks, the question was asked, Rabbi Eliezer, al yedei gilgul ka'ama? What is Rabbi Eliezer saying here? Rabbi Eliezer says you could have your wife swear for you that she didn't keep anything for herself. Not only if she's a storekeeper or a manager of your business, but even regarding house matters, privately in the house. The dough, the thread in the house, even regarding this you could have a swear. Maybe Rabbi Eliezer only meant that this is so through gilgul. Gilgul means that you sort of extend the shvuah. What's the word they use there? Roll the shvuah. Once she's swearing, if she is a caretaker, if she is a manager of the business, and she has to swear as a manager of the business, just like any manager that has to swear. So once she's making the shvuah for this, so then Rabbi Eliezer says the husband can say, you're swearing for this. Swear also regarding all the other things in the home that you do here, that you didn't take any dough for yourself, you didn't take any thread for yourself. It's through Gilgul, through this halacha of Gilgul Kama. That's what Rabbi Eliezer meant to say. But the point of here is, if she's not a caretaker or a manager of the business, so he can't just come to her and say to her, here, swear that you didn't take any dough for yourself. That he can't do. It's only as a Gilgul. If she is swearing for the fact that she's a manager, then she also swears for the home, the things that she does in the home as well. And Rashi explains another point here. The Pshat in the Gemara is, the Chiddush here is, this concept of Gilgul Shvuah is learned from a pasuk, and it's usually applied regarding a Shvuah min HaTorah. When she's obligated to swear for something min HaTorah, then there's the concept of Gilgul Shvuah. According to this understanding here in the Ibaya, this idea of Gilgul Shvuah will be applied even regarding a Shvuah midrabanan. This idea that a manager of a business swears is no Shvuah min HaTorah. This is a takana midrabanan, that a manager of a business has to swear to the owner that he didn't take anything for himself. So therefore, maybe we apply the idea of Gilgul Shvuah regarding a Shvuah midrabanan as well. Or perhaps, no, we don't apply the concept of Gilgul Shvuah here. So therefore, what did Rabbi Eliezer mean to say? Rabbi Eliezer is saying that a person can go to his wife and not without any Gilgul Shvuah and just say to her that I want you to swear to me that you didn't take any dough for yourself or any threat to yourself, even if she's not a manager of the business. Just for this itself, you can have her swear. Tashama, the Gemara says, I'll bring you a raya. Because what happened, Amr Loyla Rabbi Eliezer, the Chachamim said to Rabbi Eliezer regarding his opinion that he could have her swear for all these home things that she does. If so, Ein Adam Darim Nachash B'Kfife. A person can't live with somebody else, a snake, in the same basket. So in other words, the point is, a wife could say, how could I live with a husband which is constantly suspecting me and having me swear about these basic things that I have to do for him every day? Every day is going to have me swear, and he's suspecting me for stealing from him. How could I live with him? So we can't allow the husband to have his wife swear for these kind of matters. That's what Chacham said to Rabbi Eliezer. Now, if you're going to say that what Rabbi Eliezer meant to say is that a husband can have his wife swear just for this itself, for the dough or for the spindle, so Shapir. So we understand why Chachamim are saying to Rabbi Eliezer, this is like living with a snake. He's suspecting her for these things. But if you're saying that he can't have a swear for just the things that she does in the home, but it's only if she's a manager of the business, that's a different story. Manager of the business, any manager of any business has to swear to his owner that he didn't take anything for himself. And it's a gilgul. Then once she's swearing for that, she swears for this also, for the things that she does in the home. So if so, why is this so terrible for her? Why is she getting so excited about the fact that she has to swear for this? And why would Chachamim say that she can't live with him and this is like a snake? So the Gemara answers, no, there's no raya for here. The Amr lay, because she could say to her husband, Kivin de kadaikes basroi kula hai. If you're being so particular with me, you're having me swear about this as well, even though you're not coming to me originally with this, but now you want me to swear about this, and you're being so particular with me about the things that I'm doing in the house, so that shows that you don't trust me, and you're looking over my back all the time. So, I can't live together with you. Toshama, the Gemara brings a raya from another braisa. When a person did not exempt his wife of a neder or from a shvuah. So the neder that it says here is actually something that the Gemara explains in another place, that in Gittin the Gemara says that here it talks about the wife making a shvuah to her husband, that I didn't take anything for myself if she's a manager. But in other places the Gemara says that she alternatively can make a neder. If it turns out I took something from myself, then I accept a vow upon myself that all paytas in the world will be asa to me. So this is another way of her demonstrating to her husband that he should be sure that she took nothing for herself. So if she's not potter of this neder or from this shvuah, we'll see soon in the next Mishnah. The Mishnah says that sometimes a husband could tell his wife, you're exempt of making any shvuah to me. But if he did not potter her from that neder or shvuah, and vayishiva chanvenis, she has the position of being the storekeeper for the husband, or shemina patrupia, or she's the manager of his business. He could have her swear to him that she took nothing for herself at any time. But if she's not a storekeeper, he did not appoint her as a manager of the business, he can't have her swear about other things that she does in the home. But Rabbi Eliezer says, even if he did not appoint her as a storekeeper, he did not appoint her as a manager of the business. If he wants, he could have a swear at any time for anything that she does, even in the home. Every wife is considered to be a manager for something that she's doing for him in the house. Al pilcha, valisasa, the spindle, or the dough that she bakes bread for him. So therefore, every wife is taking from the husband's money, from the husband's materials, and doing things for him. So she's a manager in the home, and therefore she swears for him. Amrulai, Chachamim asked Rabbi Eliezer on this, how could you have a husband force his wife to swear for him all the time? How could she live with a snake in one basket? So what do we clearly see here in this braisa? Rabbi Eliezer clearly says we're talking about a wife that's not a manager in the business, not a storekeeper, and still Rabbi Eliezer said that she could swear for him. Shma mina, lechatchila, shma mina. This is a clear proof that the meaning of Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is that a husband could have his wife swear for him even if she's not a caretaker, not a storekeeper at all.
And if she didn't want to do a shvuah, is it get? She said, I don't want to do a shvuah.
Could be, yeah. He forced her to make a shvuah, yeah. Zok Heilige Mishneh, kosav lo. A person writes to his wife, and as we'll see in the Gemara, it's clear from the Gemara that this is when they're coming to get married. So he writes to her the following condition: Neder shvuah ein li alecha. Any nedarim, any shvuah, so you don't have to swear for me. And the Gemara will explain exactly regarding what this applies to. So he makes a deal with her. You never have to swear for me about anything. So then any yachal ashbia, he can't have her swear for him. Aval, however, mashbiahu es yersha. But if anyone that inherits her, or anyone that she sold her ksubah to, so this is after the wife passes away, and now her children, or anyone that she sold the rights of her ksubah to, want to go and collect the ksubah, so Rashi here brings the halacha always is, anybody that wants to collect the ksubah is going to have to swear before they collect the ksubah. But over here in this case, if they're collecting it from the Yarshim, that is. If you're collecting the Ksubah from the Yarshim, so then you're going to have to swear. So over here, even if she herself does not have to swear, but the Yarshin and the Ba'im B'Rishusa, meaning if she sold the Ksubah to other people, they are going to have to swear. That's not part of the deal that he made with her. He just said, you won't have to swear for me. If he wrote to her, the deal was, Neder Shvua Einli Alecha Va'al Yarshecha. Not you will have to swear for me, and not the Yarshim either. They also will not have to swear for me. So you spelled out the Yarshim as well. And also, anyone that's coming in your place, you sold your rights to collect anything from me to someone else, they also don't have to swear. So then, so not she has to swear for him, not her inheritors, and not anyone that's coming in her place. Aval Yarshav Mashbiya Noisa. But if it's not the husband, if the husband now passed away, and now it's one of the inheritors of the husband that wants to have her swear or her Yarshim swear before they collect the Ksubah, that's not part of the deal. They could have them swear. Again, Yarshav Mashbiya Noisa Vesyershev Vesabam B'Rishusa, whether her inheritors, whether anyone that's coming in her place. Because the deal was only that the husband himself, will not have her swear, but not if the husband dies. If the husband dies, so his Yarshim could bring her to swear. But if he writes clearly, the deal he makes with her is, Neder Shvua Einli, there was no Neder and no Shvua that you will be obligated for me, V'loy Yarshai, and not obligated to swear to any of my inheritors, V'loy Ba'im B'Rishusi, not anybody that's coming in my place, Alecha V'al Yarshecha, not you will have to swear to me, not any of your inheritors will have to swear for me, V'al Ba'im B'Rishuscha, and not anybody that's taking your place if you sold your rights to collect the Ksubah, nobody will have to swear, not to me and not to my inheritors. So then, Eni Yochel Hashbiya, Loyu V'lo Yarshav, not the husband himself could bring it to swear, not his inheritors, and V'lo Ba'im B'Rishuscha, not anybody that takes the husband's place, that bought his rights, Lo Yaisa, Lo Yarshev, V'lo Ba'im B'Rishuscha. Not she will have to swear, not her inheritors will have to swear, and not anybody that she sold her rights to collect the Ksubah will have to swear either. I spelled out all these details, so no one has to swear. Now the Mishnah concludes, Holcha mikever baila lebeisavia. If right after if her husband passed away, her husband owed her a Ksubah or whatever it is that the husband owed her, and now right after her husband passed away, so immediately from the Levaya, from the Beis HaKvaris, she goes back to her father's house. Meaning that she's not having any dealings anymore with what's going on in her husband's house. Or even if she does go back to her father-in-law's house, which essentially means going back to her husband's house, but she's not taking care of any of the matters of her husband's possessions. She has nothing to do with it. So the inheritors cannot have her swear about anything. Because what the Mishnah here is speaking about, going back to what we said before, when the husband wrote to the wife, you will not have to swear for me. So that means that she does not have to swear for anything that was from before, because all those things that belong to the husband from before, that the husband owed her, for that she doesn't have to swear. But if today she becomes an apetropis, she becomes a manager over the husband's properties, so now she's a manager of the properties of her husband that don't belong to her husband anymore. Now the Yarshim did. So these Yarshim now can have her swear regarding any business or regarding anything that the wife is taking care of from today going forward. Because that doesn't belong to her husband at all. The deal was between her and her husband. So for the past, but they can't bring her to make a shvua regarding anything that there was in the past, in the lifetime of the husband. Because whatever she did in the lifetime of the husband, that she made a deal that you're not going to have to swear for this. So right after Levaya, she has no new dealings today, she doesn't have to swear for that. But if she is the caretaker and the manager of the business today, and now the business already belongs to the inheritors, for that she will have to swear today.
Kids around it's a small, it's 2 line
Who made it after they passed away?
They get the children, or maybe she was appointed somehow to be an apotropis. So as long as she becomes an apotropis today, she will have to swear for this.
Did you give us a 2 line kids